So if coach does not inquire, does not explore how the client perceives themselves or the world around them. For example, the client brings a goal. So I want to prepare for the presentation which I need to deliver next week. I am terrible presenting in English language because it's not my mother tongue. If you will tell me to present in Spanish and this is where I am from, that would be no problem for me. And then the coach asks, so great, so how would the preparation to the presentation look like? Making assumptions about how the client perceives themselves. So for example, the coach might say, well, you are an engineer, right? So I guess you are very logical. So what do you think the next logical step you can do? Right? Or if, for example, the coach tells their perception of the client without inviting the client to disagree or push back. For instance, the coach says, you look very tired today, like if you are jumping from one call to another. So what can help you to settle down and start our coaching session in a good mood? So coach inquires about or explores how the client currently perceives themselves or their world. So we are exploring in the coaching conversation the perceptions, the beliefs, and the assumptions in relation to the goal or the challenge clients want to address in this conversation. Because again, in the coaching conversation, there might be lots of clients' beliefs and concepts and paradigms are popping up. We cannot just grab every single one, so we're having the goal in mind. Therefore, we are exploring those beliefs which might either hinder client or inspire client moving forward towards their goal. Let's go back to our previous example. So the client shares, I want to prepare for the presentation which I need to deliver next week, but I'm terrible at presenting in English because it's not my mother tongue. If I were speaking in Spanish, where I feel so much more confident about, that would have been no problem. In response to this, the coach might ask, when you say that you are terrible at presenting in English, how do you feel? So the client might say, well, I feel all tense and I feel that I'm going to struggle again. So the coach can continue. Well, it sounds to me that when you say that you are terrible at presenting in English, it does impact the way you feel. Would that be useful for you to explore this a little bit deeper? To be able then to prepare for your presentation and deliver your presentation more effectively. So then in the coaching conversation, we are also exploring the contradictions in how the client perceives themselves or the world around them. Okay, or incongruencies. So, for example, the coach might share an observation. So early in our session, you said to me that you don't have a track record of failure, and now you are saying that you fall off the wagon. So it does sound contradictory to me. What do you mean by fall off the wagon? We are kind of have our ears tuned for the generalization, the words which we are inviting the client to kind of reflect or to explore, just simply evoking the awareness around those words through actively listening. When the client says something like always like this or never like this, I never have time to rest properly. Okay, is that when you say never, what do you really mean? Or simply asking never can also provoke some thinking. Very often the client says, well, not never, but it is my challenge. All right, that's already something. That's already a certain history, in there which we can tap into. And if you as a coach, observe something and you want to share your perception of the client, it is important that you're really explicit, that the client explicitly state that the client can either push back or disagree with you. Again, for example, I've heard you saying that you were jumping from one call to another, and please feel free to push back or disagree with me, but I have a sense that you're a little bit tired. Would that be helpful to start our session in a settling way? What do you think?